Your video's not on, David.
Okay, good afternoon. It's David Celine and Bob Spitz from Drive.
Yeah,
And
good
today we have
afternoon.
Alana McNabb of J&A Transmission with us. Welcome, Alana.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me.
So
Yeah.
we're gonna have lots of questions for you today but first I want to just let's talk about your shop, your business, how you got started, and how you come across Drive.
So this goes way back to so my husband it was 1990. He's 18, I'm 14, still in high school. And yes, we're dating. And he says, I'm gonna open a transmission shop. So John's transmission shop was born the fall of 1990. So quickly it grew. And then in 94, John brought his brother Aaron in, and then J&A was launched. So now then that new building was built and all those wonderful things. And I was still in college. And then in 97, I'm a senior in college. And I'm like, I'll just go to work for John and Aaron. This is wonderful. But the whole thing of running the business, we're only 7 years in, but you're working yourself to death and all the numbers. And it was just, and I got a postcard and it was two people on a beach. And it said, is this any way to run your shop? And I ran over to John's desk and I said, look at this postcard. There's a seminar in Chicago. And I said, let's go. And he said, okay. So that was when it was Management Success under Mike Lee. Mike Lee was our speaker. We went to Chicago for the weekend and they said, would you like to do this program? And we couldn't afford it. But I said, we have a credit card. And we put it on a credit card, and it was the best decision that we made for J&A Transmission. That was 26 years ago. I was 21 years old. I was still in college. We would leave Friday night, fly to California, do our classes. I would come home. We'd come home on red eye Sunday night so I could be back in college on Monday morning. It was great. It was bananas, but I will tell you, it worked. And so now, fast forward, we're here 26, we're 33 years in business this year. So 26 years after Management Success. Last year, I said to, with John and Aaron, I'm like, okay, we have to figure out what we're going to do with this. Do we want to do this forever? Are we going to do succession planning? So I get a hold of Drive again. Now it's Drive, no longer Management Success. And here I am. So now I'm in succession planning and still learning, not only succession planning, there's still things to keep learning. I mean, the basics were there, but it's always good to fine tune. I find things every day that can be improved upon. So it's really fun. The classes are fun. So that's kind of the J&A story. And yes,
it's a great story.
Yeah, we are young. People can't believe it. And I'm like, I know. But, we weren't ready for stage 4 in our early 20s. We wanted to work. We were excited. We're Midwest. We're in Illinois. You got that Midwestern grit. And so but now, now we're like, okay, what are we going to do? So that's where we're at today.
Okay. Well, just a couple questions for you. Long-term clients of Drive, working through everything and everything else. I'm sure not everything was easy to just implement and change. You went to your workshops and you had to do things, and you're full-time college at this time. And I'm going to take you down a trip of memory lane, because I'm sure there was times where you learned something, you had to implement it. I would assume you were in college at the time and coming into the shop when you had free time. Did you have to beat everybody with a baseball bat to get some changes made?
No, not too bad. It wasn't too bad. We were just still doing handwritten repair orders. You got us to go to computer. Huge. That was huge. To learn the numbers and the markup, huge. To give us confidence to charge appropriately, huge. It was a lot of work. It was, but and the financial class, if you haven't done the financial class, it's amazing. It teaches you how to separate everything. That was huge. So,
Yeah.
there were quite a few key, I think everybody has a strong suit. Of course, mine's accounting. So I ran with the financial and I got that all going quickly. And so that's huge for a business. If you don't know where all that's going, I don't know. You got to get that under control.
Oh, yeah. You don't want to wait till December to find out your accountant tells you you've made too much money this year
Yeah. Oh,
and you have nothing in the bank.
yeah. That in the early years, that's what was, I was so frustrated with. I'd be like, we're working ourselves to death. And yet after all the bills are paid, there was nothing. And
Right.
I just remember thinking something's wrong. And, this and the other thing. And then it was just like, oh, it was the pricing. And you think that you're charging enough, or you think you're doing the right thing. And so where you guys came in, it was like, wait a minute, it was a formula and it made sense. And that formula is still used today.
Sure.
It is. And
Yeah,
so
the numbers are still the numbers.
yeah,
Yeah.
basically, yeah.
Well,
So-
David can definitely relate to everything you're saying, having had a truck shop.
Yeah, no, I can relate to everything, and why I asked some of these questions when we're on the Facebook Live, because I know there was times that I was hesitant to change stuff, and even when it comes to pricing, you have this when you operate after so many years like this, and then somebody tells you you're going to change your pricing. Well, the first thing you start thinking about is, well, am I going to be able to keep my customers? My customer is going to be upset if I charge more. How am I going to do this?
Right.
And it's a thought process, not only a thought process, but a training a shop owner has to go through to say, I can charge this much. I'm worth this much.
Yeah, it
Right.
gives you the confidence. It was confidence. It was like, your vehicle's broke. If you could fix it, you would. You brought it to us to help you charge appropriately. And I think the other thing too is there's somebody out there that's going to work for free or not, don't let that be your shop.
Oh, absolutely. But they're not going to be there long.
No, they won't.
Yeah.
No, they won't.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yep, that's so true. And you should.
A little funny story. I went over that whole pricing concept because I was at that seminar with you in 97. And
I remember.
yeah,
I do.
that was a wild crowd. And I went over that whole concept with a big truck shop in Dallas, Texas. And he was making no money. He was working himself to death. This was a huge place. And he said, holy cow. He says, I'm changing it. I don't care if none of them come back. I'm not working for free anymore.
It's
Well,
why.
Yeah.
well, and it is a lot of it. And you brought up another good point when you were talking there is pricing kind of goes hand in hand with the computer system, the shop management system that you put into your shop, because you
Yes.
set that stuff up and you set it up correctly in your shop management system. And believe it or not, working for Drive, I would say you'd say now it's 2023 and everybody's on a shop management system, but we run into people that don't have that in their shop right now. And one of the biggest things we see is the holes in their pricing. It doesn't, it's it kind of everything's priced by your gut, and
Yeah.
it's not the right way to do it.
It's so true. It's true. Yeah. You have to have a computer. You have to have that. You have to have a program. I don't know how else to do it. And if they aren't doing it, boy, get to it, guys, because that's you stop banging your head up against a wall. Yeah, no, I would agree with that.
Now you and John lived through the wild transition. We were talking about it just a little bit ago of
Mhm.
transmission shops transitioning over to general repair, which was not easy
No,
for a transmission shop to do that.
it wasn't like so 2000. So the Twin Towers come down. We're so 1990 we opened. Now we're in 2001, and things are good. But then these Twin Towers come down. Then the government decides to do cash for clunkers. So no one's fixing their transmissions, and everything that did have a good transmission was crushed. So it was like, oh snap, we got to think of something. So John's like, I'm going to do exhaust equipment. So we got an exhaust vendor, and from there it just went into all general. It just really. So yes, we are known for transmissions. Yes, we still do transmissions. But we are also all general repair. And then in 2 years later, 2003, our tires and alignments, we were subletting them out. We're like, wait a minute here. So we opened next door a tire and alignment shop. So we feed each other. So we truly are. I always say we're a one-stop automotive shop. And that's truly, yeah. So that way we can do it all, which you have to.
Let me ask you a question though, Alana.
Yeah.
With what you had learned at that time about managing a shop, did it make that transition into other verticals such as general repair and alignment easier?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, the pricing is still, it's your pricing is if you're set up on the right, pricing is pricing. Yeah, it wasn't as difficult as what you would, it was natural. It was just like
because I know transmission shops that just didn't. They were afraid to go into general repair, and a lot of them went away.
I don't know how it's also connected. I don't know how you couldn't do that, even, so, but we still, I will tell you guys, we still rebuild a lot of transmissions.
Yeah.
It's not yet dying for us. But we do a lot of tires and alignments. We do a lot of brakes, we still do, we do exhaust, so, I mean, it's still, it's everything.
Yeah.
So
that's great.
Yeah.
Okay. So just out of curiosity, I'm kind of moved to switch the subject just a little bit, because I know you guys got your operation going good. You're making money now and everything, but the big thing you came back to drive for is you said, I'm looking for the succession and exit strategy for the business.
Right. Yeah.
And you made up a big point. I heard this years ago, and I think it may even been from Bob, or it could have been years when I was a client of Drives way back in the day. And it's like, when's the best time to plan your exit from the business? And they says the day you open it.
Yep.
And I started, when you start thinking about that, if you start running your business as if you're going to sell it tomorrow, it runs better, it's smoother, and it plans your path on how you're going to turn over or put it in place of a manager or turn it over to a family member. There's so many things that can happen when we talk about succession and exit strategies. But I know this is on a lot of shop owners' minds right now, is how I want to get free from the business. So you guys have been working on that for the last year. Let's talk about how that's working for you, and what steps are you taking to put that in place?
I think one of the, so far, one of the biggest things I think for us is we really don't have I don't have a procedure manual. So right now, if somebody had to fill my shoes, they would be like, I need a procedure manual. What do I do? How do I do it? And things like that. And each of our key players needs to do that. So that somebody could, I get to work from home. So I do have I have girls down there during the day that are answering the phone, doing estimates, and I get to do all the behind the scenes. So I'm not physically in the shop. And so that's great for me. Yeah. But John and Aaron are down there. John's deep into the front and Aaron's deep into the back. So we're still heavily owner involved. How has Drive, so since we started this in June, even my pricing wasn't exactly spot on. So I got that corrected. So even though that I adjust it, I still needed to adjust it some more. So that was good. And the other thing I think it's going to do is help me get that manual. So if whatever succession we plan to do, if it's employee, if it's a family member, they know how it's going to go, and it's just good communication too.
Well, you're not the only one in that boat. And that's one of the reasons why we created and it's being piloted now, the Playbook app. Have you been looking at that? Yes,
I did the February. In February, he did the he went through everything, every morning we went through, it was a 15-minute, it was quick, and just talked about the Playbook app. So now I just need to make the time to get into it and figure that out. So yeah. I've been dabbling.
Just so our viewers that what we're talking about here, they were what Bob and Alana are talking about is a Playbook app that we released from Drive. And what the Playbook app is it helps you organize a lot of things in your shop. It helps you organize your policies, your procedures, your can send training and checklist and all kinds of, it's organizing your whole business mind, really. It puts your policies, your procedures, your training. You can issue stuff to your employees. You can get feedback from your employees. You can survey your employees. You can upload videos, diagrams, Word documents, just about everything into it. And it houses the mind of the business. And it's really powerful when you start looking to organize that. I know when we had our shops back in the day, everything was in a big binder, is in a 3-inch thick binder. And I always tell everybody the thing about that is it's great that I had policies and procedures and everything, but they weren't in a digital electronic form in most cases. And as soon as you write something on a piece of paper and put it into a binder,
It's outdated. Yep.
Yes,
So-
things change. Operation, you may change a step in how you do some kind of procedure in your shop, but you don't necessarily go right back to your policy manual and pull that policy out, re-update it, reissue it, reprint it. And then the thing is your employees, if you're printing this out and your employees got copies of it, what date of policy procedures do they got? Do they got one dating back to 1990, or do they, and they're operating off of that? So this is one app that's Drive is created to help shop owners organize that and then get in communication and train their employees on their apps and their policies and procedures. And so I
Absolutely.
just wanted to update to all our viewers, when you guys are talking playbook, everybody's going, what's
Huh?
playbook?
What's playbook? Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, the other name for playbooks is how we do stuff. And that's
Yeah.
exactly what you're talking about, Elena, is all the things that you do.
Yeah.
And the app really helps you think that through and just lay it all out.
There's
This
so
is
much,
how I do stuff.
and there's so much information on there. You
Well-
don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can go to the search, and which I learned when Bill Kirkpatrick was doing the morning in February. It was like, go to the search and you could search, and all the stuff, a lot of the information is already there. The work's been done for a lot.
Oh yeah, I've loaded over 1,500 documents into the app.
Yeah. See,
Yeah,
So
so
that
a
you
lot of
guys have
a lot of the
samples.
Yeah, a lot of the
Mhm.
policies and procedures are already there, and you can take the template and you can modify it. You could use it. You can put your name on it, load
Yep.
it into your playbook. And the best way to describe playbook is the way I found to describe it is if you were to walk out today as anybody in the world and you go to buy a McDonald's franchise, the first thing they give you is this big binder. And it tells you how the store should look, how to clean the store, how to start the grills, how to make the hamburgers, how to ring everything up in the cash register, how to handle your bank accounts.
Right. How to
I mean,
open,
they
how
just
to
give you
close,
everything as a
everything.
franchise.
it's
Yes.
genius.
So by taking this for your repair shop and building that one that's custom made to your business,
Yep.
allows you to get the freedom. And I know we're heading to this, Elena, and that's once you get these policies and procedures in place, you can start delegating the jobs that you're doing in the day-to-day business
Yep.
and delegate them out to other people or find the right people to handle them. And they have everything that you have in your head. Bob, I know you guys probably talked about this to everybody so much. How much knowledge do you as shop owners have in your head while you're walking around with that you don't put down that your employees never get?
Absolutely.
Yep.
You know, and Elena, Mike Lee used to joke about this, but it wasn't a joke. He goes, here's your problem with most shop owners. You can just hear Mike, can't you? Here's your problem with most shop owners. There's 10 things that you need to do. And as an owner, you'll tell your guy number 1, 4, and 8 and forget to tell him the rest of it.
It's true. It's so true. And then wonder why it didn't work out so well.
That's right.
Mhm. And then he would say, it's only money. Yours.
Only money, yours.
It's
Yeah.
true.
So,
So-
as you're organizing, and it sounds like you're starting to get into the organizing the policies, the procedures, and implementing
Yes.
your playbook and everything.
Yes.
What is the end result for your shop? I know you're talking like you want John and Aaron to the shop, correct?
So
I
I'm
know
not
it sounds like
sure-
you're out of the shop. So
I get to be home. I still have a huge, I still do a lot of HR. I still, I have a full-time, it's still full-time, but I'm not physically in office. So our end goal would be either like, I don't know if we have employee takeover, we have sons. I don't know, but if we don't start doing something and heading towards that direction, a mechanics, their job is very, physical. You can only do it for so long. Your body can only handle it for so long. So it was like, we have to start thinking about this now. So that's where we're at now, as to far as how do we back our guys out, you know what I'm saying? And not fall apart at the seams. John's John's the main sales and service writer. Aaron's your main transmission rebuilder and lead tech in the programmer in the shop. Both are key players every day. So, we have to figure out how to,
how to recruit new people and bring them up to speed.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we're right. And then we're in the process of doing that. So that's where Drive was like, okay, let's see what we got here, and you get your, on as my coach, and we break it down. And that's that's where I'm at right now. I believe, and I'm a work in progress. I'll be honest. So,
hey, all businesses are works in progress.
yeah. So believe me, we're not perfect, and I make mistakes, and that's okay. But I do the best I can. And every shop they're all essentially ran the same. The structures are there.
Yeah,
You
they're
just
sales and production machines.
Yeah, right. So
Yeah, I was gonna say, when we talk about exit strategies and succession plannings for a shop and everything, there's one thing that I think that's important everybody should know is what I consider turnkey. And when I say turnkey, whether you're handing it over to a son or a daughter or a family member or an employee, or you're selling the business to another owner, nobody wants to buy a job. And if you are deep embedded into the business and everything works around you as a shop owner and you go to sell it, somebody is buying a job. Versus if you go to sell that business or turn that business over and you're not deeply involved in the person's walking in and just picking up the management routines that you did, and it still runs and it's operational. One, the business becomes worth more. But two, if you're handing it over to an employee or a family member of some sort, it also it breaks the cycle where, I don't know, there's this vision in the automotive industry, you got to pay your dues. You got to work 30 years on the floor, and then you can, after you've worked 30 years on the floor, you can graduate and go into the office and work as a service advisor for another 20 years. And then, it's time to sell the business. You don't ever just be the owner and come and go as you please from it. And it's just I don't know. It's something where everybody I hear it so much. I got to pay my dues, or this person has got to pay their dues. It's not that. Nobody should have to pay their dues when they own the business. You can go in there and hire the people, train them up, and have them do it, and still have the free time. I'm not saying disconnect from the business, but still have the free time from the business.
It's hard right now. I will tell you, it is hard right now to find good people. I have, and that's another thing. You guys helped me try to get hiring, and the last 4, you guys would not believe the last 4 people that applied. It is bananas. Are you kidding me? Thank gosh for Google now and a little bit of internet work, because it's no, you're a criminal. And I was just, it is tough. It's tough to find, help. It's tough it has to be that, it has to be that perfect person. So now I'm going to, we're going to go to Greenhorns. And so now I'm going to the junior colleges, those that are in the automotive program, the local vocational center.
Sure.
Now we're going to bring in Greenhorns and start training.
Has Anna introduced you to the Team Builder app?
The Team Builder app? I don't think I've done that yet.
That's a fantastic new app on how to recruit. It's an app that helps you recruit. And I tell you, we've got clients who are having tremendous success using that app.
Okay, I'll check it out. I'll talk to her.
Team Builder.
Got it. Yeah, that's great.
Helps you organize not only you placing your hiring ads, it connects up to Indeed, your website, and everything else, and it tracks everybody that's applying. You can rate the applications on a star label like you would like a Google review, a 1 to 5 star rating, and it saves all the information electronically, so you can go back to it at any time.
Yeah, and instead of going back to a paper file, pulling out a resume of someone you interviewed a year ago and go, what was this guy all about? And ending up, what we used to call the 90-day wonder. I hired the guy and 90 days later, I wondered why.
Yeah.
Right. So, so it
Yeah.
helps you
Good.
avoid that.
So
Yeah.
between the playbook and the team builder app, it's one of the things that, like I said, all of our viewers on here, there are two apps that we released at Drive. They work with our coaching programs and everything else, and it helps you take your shop to that next level, to that whatever it is. If you're trying to get out of the floor, you're trying to get out of the office, you're trying to become the owner, or if you're just trying to organize the business so it makes more profits. That's what those two apps are designed to go hand in hand with the coaching and help your business.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're dynamite. They really are.
That's awesome. I'll have to check that. I know a playbook, but I'll have to check out Team Builder. See, there's still things. I mean, there's just so much that you cannot,
yeah.
you cannot know it all. That's it.
Well, it's
You know?
not only the knowledge, it's the application and the implementation.
Applying it.
And that's where having a coach really comes in handy.
You're accountable. You
Yeah.
are accountable. And that is true. Because you'll just push it off. You'll just push it and be like, I'll get to that. I'll get to that. But when you know that your coach is calling you on Tuesday at 11:30 and that's your Zoom call, you better move your butt.
Because I know Anna, she's not going to let you off the hook.
No, she won't. And she shouldn't. Because she's there to help and that's what she's doing. And so you're like, it makes us accountable. And so, yeah, it's good. That is true because you'll just push it off, because you're busy. You're busy. You're doing 100 different things.
Oh yeah.
That's what I always heard saying, and I've said now, is shop happens. And it's funny because shop owners can have the best intentions. They can go to a training, they can go to a seminar, they can go through a workshop training, and they'll take all these notes down. They'll write all these notes down. Oh yes, I'm excited. I'm going to go make changes. Monday morning, they walk into their shop, they set that notepad on their desk. And by Tuesday, it has invoices and parts manuals and flyers and everything else sitting on top of it, and shop has happened. They're right back into the normal routine of shops.
Yep.
And look, if you're looking to improve your business, you gotta keep shop from happening. You got to break that routine.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Alana's saying is it breaks that routine because of having that coach there to say somebody's holding me accountable to do that.
That's
Yeah,
right.
get it done. Get it
Yep.
done. Get it done.
I say,
Hey, we're running out of time, and I wanted to say before we do that next week, Dennis Goodu of Diamond G Auto is going to be our guest, and it's going to be good to see him. He took his entire team to Hawaii.
oh, I saw that. That's wonderful. What
Isn't
a
that
great
wonderful?
goal. It's wonderful. I saw it. I thought, what a great goal for every shop. That would be great. Yes.
Especially Chicago in around February.
No kidding.
So yes.
Oh.
So Elena, I have one last question right before we do have to wrap up today.
Sure.
What's your advice to shop owners? You've been through this for many years. You started off from ground zero. You're coming up to now where you're trying to plan your succession and exit strategy. What advice do you have to give the shop owners that are listening today?
I would say don't fight the system. Find it. Everything revolves around numbers. And I think if you can concentrate on setting up the financial end and the pricing, get that would be my first thing I would put into place if it was me. That's what and you have to have a computer program. You have to. I mean, those are the things. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Don't listen to what they're telling you and run and go with that. Don't, and I got to organize. Yes, you do, but you'll organize yourself right out of business too if you don't listen. Just listen, do what works for you and how your coach is guiding you. That is what I would say, because it works. I'm telling you, the system works. No, Drive did not pay me to say that. It works. So I promise. And it does. It's a good system. And everybody says, how did you guys get to where you are? I said, well, back in 1997, I got a postcard and I go through my story because it truly is why J&A is where it's at. I put the systems into place and it works. So I think that, but to answer your question, that's my advice. Just, you got to do it. You have to do it. Yep. You won't be sorry.
Fantastic.
Okay. Well, great words of advice.
Great seeing you
And we
again.
want to thank you for
Yes, you too,
joining
Bob.
us. Yes, great seeing you. We look forward to seeing you at the expo too. Expo's in September.
September.
There's links out and everything. Everybody can start getting registered, get their rooms booked. We'll be in Vegas in September for the Drive Expo, and that's you don't want to miss out on that either.
Yep.
Pretty exciting.
Well, have a great
Okay.
weekend.
Well,
Yeah, you guys too.
yes.
Thank you for having me on. Thanks for having Jane, and you know how to find me. Okay.
Okay.
Oh yes. Thank you very much. And
You're welcome.
thank you everybody for tuning in today. Have a great weekend and we'll see you next week.